When it comes to asset allocation, for us, again, it is a lot dependent on bottom-up stock selection. So we don't allocate capital top-down, again, with a geopolitical risk or a regional kind of opportunity, whether we like this country particularly well or not well, or sector. We are very fundamental investors looking for stocks and companies which we think are very competitive businesses, very high quality businesses run by trusted management teams, can grow for long duration. So, but your view on countries, your view on regions, your view on sectors are very important as well, and we try to integrate them when we buy companies at a stock level. So I think that will ultimately reflect in our asset allocation as an outcome. But what happens is that if you have a country which you think can do well over long duration of time, and it has come down short term, you will start to see more opportunities in that country, and that will result in our higher asset allocation to those regions or sectors or countries. And in that perspective, what we have done in last couple of years, that we've been largely underweight China, which was a large part of our market, because we saw obvious risks in the economy. We were largely worried about regulation as well, but China went through a very tough time in last 6 to 9 months. Stocks came down sharply, driven by worry on regulations, worry on property slowdown, worry on now COVID slowdown. So at this point in time, actually we are seeing more opportunities in China. I mean, it's a very large market, very deep market. There are hundreds of companies to look after, and there are businesses which we liked in past, but we have never owned them because either we thought expectations were very high on them, or they were trading at prices which we were not comfortable to buy at. Now I think on both expectations as well as valuations, we are seeing more opportunities in China. So we've been allocating more capital to China in last 6 months. And I think even going forward, we saw a bigger set of opportunities that can result in higher allocation to China at a stock level. We've been always positive on India, given the fact that I think we can find some true private businesses that we want to own for long duration. India obviously has their own financial and political cycle, which we need to be mindful of. So we continue to be optimistic on India over medium to long term, where we own 5-6 very good competitive private businesses. Another region where we've been allocating more capital in last 3-6 months, again because we are finding better opportunities, is Brazil. Brazil is one market which is very cyclical and has presence of some very good companies. But because it's, as a country, Brazil is very low growth over medium to long term, typically very cyclical. Every 2-3 years they'll go into a recession. So to invest in a country like this, you need to find the right business, but also invest at the right time, because you don't have very strong long-term growth. So you need to be right in the cycle. So we bought a couple of new businesses in Brazil in last 6 months, because Brazil saw a very sharp increase in inflation and interest rates. So we believe they're already ahead in the interest rate cycle. They've already taken their interest rate to 13%, which is close to their highest in the history. And that has impacted equity markets in Brazil. So now again, you are getting stocks which we believe are good companies, can continue to grow in a weak economic environment, but trading at very reasonable prices, right time in the cycle. So these are some of the areas which we think have become interesting given the price moves and given the opportunity set of companies that we see. When it comes to sectors, I think again, we have a philosophy of investing in the kind of businesses that we want to invest, and that philosophy is very much focused around quality of people, competitive advantages of businesses, and why these companies are market leader. We need to understand them, and I think that kind of a philosophy leads us to certain kind of businesses and sectors. So if you see last 5, 6, 7 years of our fund performance and positioning, we've been largely overweight consumer sector across China, across India, because these two countries, most populous countries in the world, largest part of the emerging market bloc, they still have In case of China, upper middle wealthy Chinese class which is growing manifold. Similarly for India, you have a middle class which is going to grow manifold in next 10 years. They are going to use new products, new services, and we are very much focused on what these growing consumption classes in both these countries are liking, what are their aspirations, what products they are going to use. So we've been largely overweight consumer sector, focused on India, focused on China. And again, as I said, we are finding more opportunities in China. So we bought few more consumer businesses in China. We've been overweight technology, and I think we like technology because, and when I say technology, it's largely industrial technologies like semiconductor, some really good B2B industrial technologies in terms of equipments, largely in North Asia, Korea, Taiwan, China. And I think some of these companies that we see in the technology side, they are now becoming more competitive than ever in their history. They are really becoming global leaders when it comes to semiconductors, when it comes to chip design, when it's come to alternate energy value chain. So I think that's one area where we are very much focused on. We are already hugely invested in that area, and we are finding new opportunities in that area. So I think it's a combination of consumer, industrials and technology, which has always been overweight for us, but we continue to find new stocks in these areas as we believe that domestic markets in large countries like India and China are growing. So more opportunities for domestic consumer companies. But in technology and in industrials, Asian companies are actually becoming market leaders on a global scale. So that gives us another leg of opportunities in these companies.